Okay, hi everybody. One more video from Barclay Brown, Assistant Director of Online Collaboration for INCOSE. And this one is something that it comes up for a number of people. I'd still put it kind of in the advanced user kind of category, but it seems to be coming up for more and more people, so let me answer it. And that is the question of, okay, look, Barclay, I love that INCOSE is using Teams, but guess what? I'm also using Teams at work or at school or at work and at school. And how do I get this all together? You know, can I have multiple teams open? Am I using different accounts and so forth? And it can be kind of confusing. So let me try to clear that up a little bit. So first of all, the rules go like this. Number one, in order to access Teams, you have to use a Microsoft account. Okay, that seems pretty obvious, right? Now, Microsoft accounts come in two flavors. There are personal accounts and there are organizational accounts. An organizational account can also be called a work or school account because it's associated with a company or a university or some kind of somebody that set up a separate Microsoft entity. It's called a tenant in Microsoft lingo. All right, so INCOSE is one of those. So INCOSE has its own Microsoft tenant, just like Raytheon, just like IBM, right? If they use Teams and so on, it would be a tenant, just like a corporation has. So if you're in that group of teams, you're in a separate world from the group of teams that you have for your work or your school and so forth. Okay, now to back up. So in order to access Teams, I need a Microsoft account, right? And it can be a couple of different things. It can be an INCOSE organizational account. Now that's what we call an INCOSE leader account. So if you're a director, assistant director, associate director, that sort of thing in INCOSE, or other leaders as we add them, you'll have a INCOSE account that's your first name dot last name at incose.net. Okay, so that will be your INCOSE Microsoft account, and that's set up on the Microsoft tenant, and that's what you'll log into. Okay, so then you're in a kind of your own separate world, just like if you log into Teams at your employer or at your university. It's kind of its own thing. So now the other alternative is if you're a regular INCOSE member and not leading something in INCOSE, then you will have an external guest account in Teams in the INCOSE world, and you'll log into that using another Microsoft account, and that has to be some other Microsoft account that you own or create. Now, if you don't use any Microsoft cloud applications, no Teams, nothing like that, no SharePoint or anything like that with work or school, then you'll just create a personal Microsoft account and you'll use that to log into Teams, and you won't have any confusion. But let's talk about the main subject of this video, which is people that have multiple Microsoft accounts, and how do you manage that? Well, one of the limitations that the Teams desktop app has right now, if you haven't already noticed this, is that you can only be logged into one Microsoft Teams setup at a time. And I'm going to show you that. Let me just bring this up and switch over so you can see this. So this is Microsoft Teams. This is the desktop version of Microsoft Teams. So you can see here's all my teams. Here's files or whatever, right? This is it's the Microsoft desktop version of Teams. But you'll notice up here at the top, it shows, all right, this is my account. If I pull it down, I see this is me, right? And I'm logged into one Microsoft account, so I can only see the teams that are associated with this Microsoft account. This Microsoft account for me is barclay.brown@incose.net, right? It's a leadership account for INCOSE. So I can only see the teams in Microsoft, or if you notice this pull down up here, I could also potentially see teams where someone else outside INCOSE has shared Teams with me using my INCOSE account. So if someone over at Raytheon was able to share a team with me, include me on a team using my barclay.brown@incose.net, I would see that in that pull down. That's not really the main thing we want to address in this video. The main thing that you want to hear about in this video is, okay, yeah, great, Barclay, but what if I work at Worcester Polytech and we use Teams there? Well, I've got barclay.brown@wpi.edu, and I use Teams. And then I got barclay.brown@incose.net, and I use Teams. So what do? Do I have to log in and out all day in this desktop app in order to use those two sets of teams? And one answer is yes, you could do that. That's one way, is you log in and out of the desktop app. Now, as a footnote, I looked this up the other day. Microsoft is aware of the issue that people, and it's kind of, they're a victim of their own success, right? So many people are using Teams that people have multiple Teams accounts and want to be able to switch between them. So I think before too long, Microsoft is going to add the capability to the desktop Teams to switch between accounts and keep them all active, or just have multiple open at the same time, right? But until they do that, there is a workaround found that works pretty well, and let me show you how to do that. So here we are in the web version of Teams. Remember this? You've seen this in other videos. And here I'm logged into I'm logged into my INCOSE Teams. But let's say, and by the way, if I open another tab and go to Teams and log in, it's going to log me out of this one. See, because it's the same web browser, it's the same system, and I can't have multiple things. But there's a trick. I can open an incognito window. All web browsers can do this. If you're using Chrome, the key to open it is Control-Shift-N, as in November, for a new incognito window. And it says, you've gone incognito. See, all these things are separated from your regular web browsing. And that's a handy feature, because what I want to do now is log into a different Teams setup. So at teams.com, whoops, what am I doing here? Can't think. Teams.microsoft.com. Sorry, that's what I meant to type. So here I am in Teams. Now it's, and by the way, I'm already, that's kind of interesting. But if you notice, this is because I was already logged in another place. But notice that I'm logged into a completely different Teams system. This is for a different account. It's for a nonprofit I'm involved in called Heart Initiative. And so this is another set of Teams called Heart Initiative with a different account. And so if you notice right here, I've got two Teams open at the same time. And actually both will send me desktop notifications. The first time you go in, it'll prompt you down there and say, do you want your desktop notifications? So you can have notifications coming from both if you want, up to you. But notice that I'm logged into two different Teams at the same time because I've used an incognito browser window. So I don't recall the keystrokes for how you create an incognito window with Firefox or with Internet Explorer, but it is possible. Just look for that, how you do that thing. You just create a new window and then you log into Teams in that incognito window, and that will keep it independent of your main browser window. In Chrome, notice it has a dark colored tab down here to just kind of remind you you're incognito. See the dark shadow thing, right? And up here it's light colored, so you can sort of tell. So I do this all the time. I keep several Teams systems open in parallel by using this trick. But even so, my desktop Teams can only be one, but I can have multiple in these multiple browser windows. Okay, so that's a very handy trick for those of you who have a busy life and have multiple Teams situations you've got to keep track of. All right, we'll see you in the next video.